My name is Katrina Pittman, and I was 28, the year everything finally snapped, the year I realized love can rot quietly like fruit that looks perfect from a distance, until you hold it in your hands and feel the softness underneath. For 3 years, I believed I had something real with my boyfriend, Lucas Hart, 27. We met through mutual friends at a bar downtown. Nothing dramatic, just easy conversation, long laughs, and that particular spark you only recognize in hindsight as something far more dangerous than attraction, the promise of comfort. We moved in together after a year. I supported him through a job loss, covered rent for a few months, planned weekend getaways because I wanted us to feel like a team. Lucas called me steady kind, his anchor. Back then, it sounded like love. Now I know anchors don't just provide stability, they can sink you too. Our friends adored him. He was charming, loud, effortlessly charismatic. I was quieter, the listener in the group, the one who stayed late to help clean up after parties. I didn't mind. I liked balance. He liked spotlight. And floating somewhere in that spotlight was Michelle Avery, 29, Lucas's ex-girlfriend. Michelle was everywhere, every group outing, every brunch, every birthday. Lucas insisted they were just close friends, that they'd dated years ago, that it was ancient history. I told myself I could be mature, secure, cool. But Michelle had this way of laughing too loudly at Lucas's jokes, of touching his arm when she talked. And Lucas. He never seemed to notice where the line was, because he didn't believe one existed. The first crack in the foundation happened 6 months ago, at a friend's birthday dinner. The restaurant was dim candles flickering across the table, everyone tipsy and relaxed. Lucas had one drink too many, and Michelle was leaning against him, giggling about something he whispered. Then Lucas lifted his glass, grinning. If Katrina wasn't here, he said loudly, loud enough for the entire table to turn, I swear I'd end up back with Michelle for one more wild night. The laughter was immediate, big, noisy, careless. Michelle covered her mouth, pretending to be embarrassed. Someone elbowed Lucas and said, Dude, someone else said Katrina, you better keep him on a leash. Everyone joked, everyone laughed, except me. I sat there, frozen heat creeping up my throat. My smile felt glued on brittle. Lucas leaned over and pressed a kiss to my cheek like that made it okay. That night, back at our apartment while we brushed our teeth, I finally said it. Lucas, that joke earlier. That hurt. Why would you say something like that in front of everyone? He spit toothpaste into the sink and rolled his eyes. Oh my God, Katrina, it was a joke. You're being so sensitive again. You've got to lighten up. He dried his face, smirking in the mirror. Besides, it's not like Michelle would actually sleep with me. We're just messing around. Everyone knows that. I swallowed hard, feeling that awful sensation of my emotions being shoved back down my throat. I'm not asking you to stop being funny, I said quietly. I'm asking you to stop making me the punchline. He threw the towel onto the counter. Katrina, you're overthinking everything. Seriously, Michelle gets it. She laughs. Why can't you? There it was, the dismissal, the twist, the moment I started to doubt myself instead of him. Sensitive, dramatic, overthinking. Words he chipped into me slowly like carving initials into soft bark until I started to believe them. But it didn't stop. It got worse. A barbecue a few weeks later, he leaned close and whispered, Michelle looks amazing today. I should trade up with a giggle. Group chat memes comparing me to fun girls. A social media story with him and Michelle at a cafe, arms around each other, captioned, When your ex is hotter than your girlfriend, #just kidding, #or-am-I. My phone buzzed all night with friends sending screenshots. That night I confronted him again. I was tired, I was hurt, but I was calm. Lucas, this isn't funny anymore. You're making me look like a joke publicly, and it feels like you're comparing me to Michelle constantly. He looked up from chopping vegetables, barely pausing. Here we go again. Katrina, stop. It's playful. I swear you're exhausting. If you're this insecure, that's the real problem. No, I said softly. The problem is you keep disrespecting me. He scoffed. If you were more fun like Michelle, I wouldn't have to joke about it. There it was. Not even pretending anymore. Not even trying to be gentle. I stood there, heart pounding, feeling something inside me quietly break. That night, while he slept, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every small moment, every sacrifice, every red flag I'd called a napkin. By morning, I knew. I wasn't the sensitive one. I was the unappreciated one. And I was done. I waited until he left for work. Then I packed my essentials, nothing dramatic, nothing he could argue with. Clothes, laptop, toothbrush, dignity. When he came home that evening and saw half my things gone, his eyes widened. What's this, he demanded. I'm leaving, I said calmly. For a joke, seriously? He laughed, but it sounded nervous. Katrina, you're being ridiculous. No, I whispered. You told me to stop being so sensitive. I lifted my bag onto my shoulder. So I did, and I walked out the door. Leaving Lucas wasn't the hard part. Staying gone was. The first week felt strangely hollow, as if I'd stepped out of my own life and was watching everything from a distance. I stayed in my friend Marina's guest room, staring at a ceiling that wasn't mine, wondering how long it would take before the quiet stopped feeling like a punishment and started feeling like peace. Marina hugged me the morning after I left. You did the right thing, she said. I nodded, but I didn't believe it yet. Part of me kept expecting Lucas to call to text to demand answers or at least pretend to care. Instead, there was nothing. No messages, no calls, no questions. It was as if my absence didn't interrupt his life at all, and somehow that hurt more than all the humiliating jokes he ever made. 2 weeks passed before the silence finally cracked. I wasn't looking for it, it found me. A mutual friend posted a story from a cafe, and instinctively I tapped it. My breath caught. Lucas was there, smiling widely, leaning in toward Michelle. Michelle's arm rested around his shoulder, her hand tracing the collar of his shirt. The caption read, "Some people just belong together. Hashtag good vibes only." My chest squeezed, not from jealousy, but from clarity. Suddenly the jokes, the comparisons, the subtle digs, it all aligned. He hadn't wanted to fix anything with me. He'd wanted a reason to walk away without being the one to leave. That evening, Marina found me sitting on the floor holding my phone tightly. When she asked if I was okay, I didn't cry or break down. I just stared at the screen and said, I think he wanted me to leave. He didn't know how to end it, so he chipped at me until I did the work for him. Marina put a hand on my shoulder and said gently, Katrina, that's manipulation. And for the first time, I let myself accept that truth. The next weeks blurred. I threw myself into work, signed up for therapy, started running before sunrise, and took long drives where I played music louder than my thoughts. Therapy helped me unravel the knots I'd ignored. I said things out loud I had never admitted to anyone. I don't think he respected me. I think he liked having someone steady until something more exciting came along. I think he enjoyed making me doubt myself. Each session peeled another layer of denial off me. But healing didn't stop the world from moving. News spread through our friend group faster than I expected. One afternoon, Daniel, one of the only mutual friends I trusted, texted, Hey, just so you know, Lucas and Michelle are kinda official now. I stared at the message before responding with a simple, Thanks for telling me. A minute later, he added, They act like they've been together forever, like it was inevitable. That word inevitable stung more than it should have. 3 days later, I ran into 2 acquaintances at the grocery store. They didn't know I'd left Lucas, and they definitely didn't know how raw I still felt. One of them awkwardly said, Oh, hey, Katrina, we thought maybe you were with Lucas. He's here with Michelle right now. Something inside me pulsed with that familiar ache. Instead of leaving, I did something I didn't expect. I walked into the store, not to confront him, not to prove anything, but because I refused to behave like a ghost in a life I'd been dismissed from without a second thought. I found them in aisle 5. Michelle's hand rested comfortably on Lucas's forearm while he laughed at something she said. When she noticed me, her expression shifted, a split-second flicker of triumph, masked by a too-sweet smile. Lucas followed her gaze, and his expression changed, surprise, then discomfort, then guilt. Katrina, he said tightly. Michelle added, Fancy seeing you here. We're just grabbing things for dinner. Lucas sighed, nudging her lightly. Michelle. The way he said her name, soft familiar, confirmed everything I already knew. I hope you both have a good night, I said. No anger, no performative calm. Just a simple acknowledgement before walking away. As the automatic doors slid shut behind me, I felt something inside me click into place. Not heartbreak, not jealousy, just recognition. This was who he was now, maybe who he'd been all along. Another 2 weeks passed. My mind settled. My sleep got deeper. My routine steadied. Life finally felt like something I owned again. Then came the first text from Lucas. Hey, how have you been? I stared at it, locked my phone, and moved on. The next day, ignore me if you want, but it'd be cool to talk sometime. Then a call. Then another. Eventually a voicemail, his tone. Casual, forced, almost upbeat. Hey, Katrina. Saw your hiking post. Looks like you're doing good. Maybe we could catch up. But even through the false lightness, I heard the strain beneath his words. Doubt, regret, something collapsing. I didn't respond. A week later, Daniel messaged again. Not sure if you heard, but Lucas and Michelle are having issues. Bad ones. I didn't ask for details. I didn't need to. I simply closed my eyes and exhaled. Healing was still messy, but it was real. And Lucas is unraveling. That was only the beginning. The strange thing about healing is that it rarely feels like progress while it's happening. It's slow, uneven, and full of days where you suddenly question whether you imagined everything. But by the time autumn settled in, I could feel the shift inside me, small but undeniable. I was laughing more, sleeping without waking up 3 times a night, eating meals without that tightness in my chest. My life wasn't perfect, but it finally felt like mine. Lucas, however, was crumbling. I didn't hear it from him. I heard it from everyone else. It started when Daniel texted, "They're fighting a lot." A week later, someone else messaged Michelle stormed out of a restaurant the other day. Then another friend told Marina that Michelle had shown up at a bar crying, while Lucas stayed inside, flirting with 2 women at the table. Every update was the same story with different details. Chaotic arguments, dramatic scenes, jealousy, emotional explosions. The exact instability Lucas once accused me of having. And I didn't feel smug. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't even feel vindicated. Mostly I felt tired. Because the truth was simple. Lucas hadn't magically turned into someone toxic overnight. He had always been this way. I had just put myself between him and the consequences. Now that I no longer served as his shield, everything was hitting him at once. I had therapy one evening when my therapist said something that stayed with me. When someone's chaos no longer affects you, that's the moment you've truly stepped out of their story. I wanted that, needed it. So I kept building my own life. I started hiking new trails, signed up for a weekend pottery class, cooked for myself in ways that felt almost ceremonial. One Saturday morning, while shaping clay into something that was supposed to resemble a bowl, I caught myself smiling for no reason. That's when I realized Lucas hadn't crossed my mind all morning. But he hadn't forgotten me. The texts escalated. The casual ones came first. "Hey, hope you're doing good. Saw your post, nice view. Crazy week. Want to catch up?" I ignored all of them. Then came the emotional ones. "Katrina, seriously, can we talk? I know things got messy." Then the guilt tripping. "You walking away like that really messed with me. At least give me 5 minutes." Then inevitably the blame. "You made everything so dramatic. We could have fixed it if you weren't so stubborn." It was almost textbook, the stages people go through when control slips out of their hands. I didn't reply to any of it. One evening, he sent a voicemail. His voice sounded strained, almost panicked, the false confidence finally stripped away. "Katrina, look, things with Michelle aren't what people think. She's been losing it at me for nothing, and honestly, I don't know what to do. I miss talking to you. You always kept me grounded. Can we please just meet one conversation? I'm not asking for much." I deleted it, because I knew exactly what he was doing, searching for his emotional safety net, now that Michelle wasn't giving him the attention or admiration he craved. Lucas never wanted to be alone. He always needed a woman to catch him when he fell. He had Michelle now, and Michelle was finally seeing what I had lived through. Eventually, even his friends got involved. One messaged me, "Lucas is going through a rough time. Maybe just give him a chance to explain." Another wrote, "He said you left without warning, and he's struggling. You should talk to him." It would have annoyed me if it didn't feel so familiar. Lucas had always been good at shaping narratives, especially ones that made him the victim. Then came the message that told me everything I needed to know. Marina walked into the living room holding her phone, eyebrows raised. "You're not going to believe this?" she said. "Michelle just posted a story about Lucas." She held the screen toward me. It was a photo of Michelle sitting alone in her apartment, mascara smudged, eyes red, captioned, "When the person you left someone for turns out worse than the one you left. Guess the joke's on me." Another slide followed a blurry picture of Lucas walking away from her door at night. Another, a text screenshot, his name at the top. "Lucas, you're too much. I can't deal with this right now. Stop blowing up my phone." Below it, Michelle's message, "I'm just asking where you went. Why is that a big deal?" The irony was so sharp I almost laughed. Michelle, the woman who once smirked at me in a grocery aisle while holding on to Lucas, was now living the same cycle I had escaped. I didn't gloat, I didn't feel triumph. It wasn't victory. It was closure. Real closure. The kind that comes not from conversations, but from evidence. The kind that tells you firmly and undeniably that you were never the problem. A few days later, Lucas's tone changed again. He texted Katrina, "I'm sorry. I really need your forgiveness. Please, can we talk?" Then Michelle and I are done. She's crazy. I should have never. I messed up. I know that now. Then I'm alone. Everything is falling apart. I just need someone to talk to. Please don't ignore me. I didn't respond. Because for the first time, I didn't feel compelled to. My life was finally taking shape in ways it never had with him in it. My friendships felt fuller. My days felt calmer. My body even felt lighter, as if I'd shed something heavy I'd been carrying for too long. And just when I thought his unraveling had hit its peak, it got worse. Much worse. Lucas's unraveling didn't just continue. It accelerated, collapsing in on itself like a dying star. And the more he spiraled, the more I realized how insulated I had kept him from the consequences of his own behavior. Without me there to patch his messes smooth, his conflicts, and carry his emotional weight, everything he had built on charm and impulse began to fall apart. The first big crack appeared at his job. A mutual colleague. Someone who worked in the same building pulled Marina aside at a cafe and mentioned that Lucas had been reprimanded twice for missing deadlines. He had shown up late to a meeting after a blowout fight with Michelle, and another time he'd stormed out of the office in the middle of the day. He's all over the place, the colleague said. Everyone's talking about it. Something's wrong. Something had always been wrong. He'd just been good at convincing people it wasn't his fault. Then came the rumors about Michelle. Their relationship had turned into a series of arguments loud enough that neighbors complained. She showed up at his workplace once demanding he come outside. Another time, she left a string of emotional texts after he disappeared for a weekend without telling her. A friend sent me a screenshot from Michelle's private story, just a picture of her blotchy, tear-streaked face and the caption, "I was stupid to think I could fix him." It was surreal watching someone else fight the same battles I once mistook as personal failures. Around this time, I found myself settling into the quiet rhythm of my own life. Work was going better than ever. My manager praised the initiative I was taking and hinted at a promotion. I started attending pottery classes on Wednesday nights and hiking trails I'd avoided because Lucas always said they were boring. I began cooking again, not rushed meals squeezed around someone else's moods, but real food, slow food. I even joined a small hiking group where I met a man named Aiden, tall, easygoing, thoughtful, in a way that didn't demand attention but earned it naturally. We weren't dating. Not then, not officially, but conversations flowed effortlessly. He laughed without needing to be the center of the room, and when he asked me questions, he genuinely listened to my answers. It felt safe, not electrifying, not dramatic, just safe. And safe, I realized, was not boring. It was peace. Meanwhile, Lucas continued clawing at the edges of my silence. The text intensified. "Katrina, please talk to me. I'm losing my mind." "Katrina, this isn't fair. I just need closure. Michelle is insane. You were the only normal one I ever dated." And then the pivot I'd been waiting for but dreaded seeing. "Katrina, I miss you. I miss us. I didn't appreciate what we had." A year ago, those words might have broken me open. Now they barely left a mark. I recognized them for what they were: not love, not regret, but desperation. He didn't miss me. He missed the version of me who protected him from the consequences of everything he refused to fix. One night, after ignoring another 3 texts and a call, I received a message from an unknown number. For a moment, I considered blocking it immediately until I saw the name attached to the long paragraph Michelle. Her message was chaotic, shifting tones, run-on sentences, emotional whiplash. "I know you hate me. I know what I did. But please, I need you to understand what he's like. He lies about everything. He told me things about you that weren't true. He told me you were unstable, that you exaggerated everything. And now he's doing the same to me." Then another text seconds later. "You warned me without warning me. I should have listened." I sat on my bed, staring at my phone, feeling something unexpected. A sense of closure so heavy and complete, it almost felt like grief. Not for him, for me. For everything I lost trying to love someone who had no idea how to love anyone back. The next morning, Marina told me she'd run into one of Lucas's coworkers. He'd been officially put on performance watch. The fights with Michelle had spilled into the office, and his manager had caught him yelling on the phone in a hallway. He'd also shown up late 3 times in 1 week. "He's burning every bridge he has," the coworker had said. He was unraveling publicly now, and still he kept reaching for me. One night near midnight, he left another voicemail. His voice was hoarse, tired, almost defeated. "Katrina, I know you're ignoring me. I get it. I messed up. But I'm not doing well. Everything's falling apart. I can't talk to Michelle because she's cruel. My friends aren't around. I don't know who I am anymore. I need someone who knows me." It wasn't what he meant. He didn't need someone who knew him. He needed someone who used to fix him. I didn't reply. And ignoring him didn't fix him, or punish him, or change him. It simply freed me. Meanwhile, something gentle was forming between me and Aiden. Nothing heavy, nothing defined. Just shared dinners after hiking meetups, conversations that lasted longer than expected, small gestures like him bringing an extra water bottle for me on a hot day, or me saving him a seat at pottery class. His presence was calm in a way I didn't know I needed. But even as my life grew steadier, Lucas's shadow lingered. Because spiraling men rarely fall silently, and I should have known that the breaking point was close. Closer than I ever expected. The breaking point arrived on a warm Friday evening, the kind of night that feels calm on the surface but carries a hum beneath it like something waiting to happen. It was our mutual friend Jake's birthday, a rooftop gathering, with string lights, soft music, and the scent of grilled food drifting through the air. I hadn't been to one of these events in months, but I felt ready. I felt steady. I brought Aiden as my +1. Nothing official, nothing romantic that needed labeling. But I knew I wanted him there not to prove anything, not to posture, but because his presence felt grounding. We arrived together, and several friends greeted us with genuine warmth. For the first time in a long time, being around this circle didn't make my chest tighten. I should have expected Lucas to show up. I didn't. When he walked in halfway through the night, I recognized him by his posture first. Shoulders tense, expression stretched, thin eyes darting too quickly like he was scanning the room for something to anchor himself to. When his gaze landed on me, and then on Aiden, standing at my side, his face changed in an instant. Shock, then discomfort, then something darker and heavier beneath it. He didn't come over immediately. He hovered across the rooftop for nearly 20 minutes pacing, pretending to talk to people who clearly weren't offering him the comfort he wanted. I tried to ignore him. I focused on Aiden, on the conversations, on the feeling of being happy without forcing it. But people like Lucas don't stay on the sidelines when they feel their grasp slipping. He approached while Aiden was chatting with Jake. I saw Lucas's shadow before I saw his face, and when I turned, he looked like a man who had run out of places to hide. "Katrina," he said quietly, "can we talk?" His voice wasn't confident or angry or rehearsed. It was hollow. I considered telling him no, but some part of me wanted this over, completely over. I stepped a little to the side, keeping the crowd in sight. "Make it quick." He inhaled sharply as if he'd been waiting for permission. "Look, I know I messed up. I know I treated you horribly. I didn't see it then, but I see it now. Everything's been falling apart since you left." I said nothing. I just watched him. He ran a hand through his hair, eyes glassy. "Michelle's gone. She cheated on me. She screamed at me constantly. My job's on the line. My friends don't want to deal with the drama anymore. I feel like..." He swallowed hard. "I feel like I'm losing everything." "That sounds hard," I said evenly. He blinked, startled by the neutrality in my tone. "Katrina, I'm trying to be honest. I realize now that you were the stable one, the loyal one, the one who actually cared. I didn't appreciate it then, but I do now. I need you. Can we please try again? I can be better. I swear I can." I looked at him carefully, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't see the man I once loved. I saw the man he truly was, and the man he had been all along. Someone who didn't want me back, just the safety and support I provided. Someone who didn't want to fix himself, only the discomfort of being alone. "Lucas," I said softly, "you told me I was too sensitive, that I needed to lighten up, that I was exhausting. You made me feel like my feelings were a burden." He winced, whispering, I know, and I'm sorry." "You told me I should be more like Michelle," I continued. "More fun, more exciting, less stable." "I didn't mean..." "You did," I cut in gently. "You meant every word. And now that Michelle didn't turn out the way you imagined, you want to come back to me because I am the safe option. The backup plan." His face crumpled. "That's not..." "It is," I said. "And the saddest part is you don't even realize it." He stared at me, breathing unevenly, eyes reddening. "Please, Katrina, I can change. I'll go to therapy. I'll do anything. Just don't walk away." I shook my head slowly. "You told me to stop being so sensitive," I said. "So I did. And the moment I stopped being sensitive to your moods, your excuses, your disrespect, I stopped being there for you at all." The words landed like a final door closing. Just then, Aiden walked over, resting a gentle hand on my back as he sensed the tension. "Everything okay?" he asked. I smiled an honest, uncomplicated smile. "Yeah," I said. "Everything's perfect." Lucas's expression collapsed completely. He didn't yell. He didn't beg. He didn't reach for me. He just stepped back, defeated, his shoulders sagging as if the truth finally settled into his bones. Without another word, he turned and walked away through the crowd, disappearing between clusters of people who barely noticed he was unraveling in real time. After he left, several friends came over quietly. "We saw that," one said. "You handled it with so much grace." "You deserve so much better," another added. Later that night, as I stood at the edge of the rooftop looking out at the city lights, I felt something I hadn't felt in months, peace steady and unshakable. Lucas was no longer a chapter I needed to reread or rewrite. He wasn't unfinished business. He wasn't a question mark. He was a lesson, a necessary one, a painful one, but a closed one. And I walked forward not with anger, but with clarity.